Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe back, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for July 19th, 2020. Anyway, so this week was pretty busy for work-wise. It's our busy season, full of construction stuff, projects going on, and breakdowns, and people taking vacation because we're running out of time for people to take them this year. You know, they have to start. We all have those to do, so it's really kind of a weird time. It's just busy. Work is very much, I'm on the clock, and then I have to force myself to clock out on time because, again, we're still holding to the 40 hours, which is great. I mean, I totally appreciate that we do get to work full time, but it's still like no overtime, and I kind of missed the being able to take care of some things because I had more time. Anyway, so it works good. I don't remember if I mentioned last week that my brother and I did a refinancing on our duplex, so that is done. Well, it'll be done tomorrow, but you know, like, it's just, that was a whole frustration this month, dealing with paperwork and stuff, but it'll be good for us going forward, so it was worth it. But still, it was just a lot of money up front and time, and the appraisal. Has anybody done that? I had to clean the whole house. It was not fun. Anyway, so for me, that everything's going well that way. So I did do quite a bit of reading this week. Well, better than last couple weeks, which is nice. I finished quite a few things. I actually finished 4 things this week, which for me is a good number, like a really high number for me. I usually, you know, sometimes I'll finish 2 or 3, but it's rare when I get 4. So it was really, really good. They all are kind of short, which is probably why I was able to finish so many, but oh well. Who wants to go into that? So anyway, I'm going to talk about the books that I finished, and then the ones I'm in the middle of, and what I think I'm going to read in the next week. So the first one I finished on Sunday was a Sicilian romance by Anne Radcliffe. I am taking part in Jane Austen July, put on by Katie at Books and Things and Marissa at Blatantly Bookish. And this is the 3rd year, so of course I have books that I've bought over the last couple of years that I want to get to. This is a contemporary, well, okay, kind of Jane Austen. Anne Radcliffe wrote mostly in the late 1700s. This was published in 1790, I believe. Yeah. It was her second book. So I had read her final book, the Italian, I think last year, and I enjoyed it, but it was it's a very gothic, again, she's a very gothic writer. So there's mysteries and there are twists and turns. And I enjoy this so much more than the Castle of Otranto that I read by, what's his name? Horace Walpole. Walpole? I think it's something like that. Anyway, but this one was really interesting. It had to do with this castle in Sicily, and the one in charge, he hasn't been home for, you know, 10, 15 years or whatever, and his 2 daughters have grown up in this castle, but there's a section of the castle that is closed off. Nobody's allowed in that area, and once in a while there's a mysterious light that appears that they can see from the courtyard. And so there's a mystery of that, and then the father comes back with his new wife. Well, they've been married for quite a while, but his second wife, let's put it that way, and comes back with his son from the first marriage, because the son is now about to become heir, and they want to party and everything. And then there's all this romance and turmoil between one of the girls and somebody else, young women and somebody else, and then it's just a fun ride. This was really fun. Like, it wasn't believable at all. Like at all, but it was just so much fun. I just enjoyed the journey. It was just, and it was a quick, I think it's just under 200 pages. Yeah, I mean, it's just under 200 pages, and then the notes were another 10. So it was just a real fun ride. I can see why she was popular, because it's a really fast, easy read, and her characters are it twists and turns, and you had to be really careful on her, because there would be a long paragraph, and you know how sometimes when there's a long paragraph, you're thinking it's all description, like they're just moving through the country, like they're driving through the countryside. But in hers, in the middle of a paragraph, something important will happen and it'll change everything. So I had to be really careful. I mean, again, I try to read every sentence, but you know what I mean? Like, you had to be, like, I was half the time going, wait, what? And I had to go back and read that paragraph and go, oh, I see. It's just, anyway, it was just a fun ride. I totally, if you like Gothic stories or something, you know, with mysterious scenery, but also all these twists and turns and family secrets and everything, I think that she's really fun of one to explore from the 18th century. I definitely want to read more of her because, again, we read this one and the Italian. I did order the other 2 books I didn't have. They're coming. I probably won't read them this year, but, and then I also still have The Mysteries of Udolpho, which is her most famous, but one of the other ones I got, The Romance of the Forest, is the one that really blew her up. Like, that was the one, that was the first one that sold really well, I guess. But I got her first novel, and then that one, The Romance of the Forest, which is the third, and then, again, I have The Mysteries of Udolpho, and then I've already read the Italian. So anyway, she's someone I'm gonna, read more of. So technically I used it for the contemporary because 1790, Jane Austen was alive. She was writing her juvenilia, but she wasn't, you know, quite to the serious point, but still it counts. I'm going to use that. And then during, I think during midweek, I decided what audiobook I was going to pick up. I did pick up Persuasion by Jane Austen. So this was narrated by, oh, I'm going to forget. I did forget. Who did I listen to this by? Oh, I don't know why that went out of my head. It was Juliet Stevenson. I'm sorry. She was really good. I don't know why that just blanked on me for a second there. Anyway, so again, Persuasion is one of Jane Austen's novels that was published after her death. She'd had it finished and was in the process of getting it to publishing, but you know, she passed away before it was published. Persuasion is my second favorite Jane Austen novel. I decided to listen to it for the first time and see how I liked that experience, and I liked it a lot. This is one of her, I think, her shortest novel. I really enjoyed this. Again, it's my favorite. It's my I would say one of my favorite, if only favorite, books that's a second chance romance. I have a lot of issues with contemporaries that are second chance romance, but for some reason this one does everything right for me. I'm just not sure why that is, but it does. Anyway, but again, it's my favorite. Anne Elliot is one of my favorite heroines, our main characters ever, and you know, I love that book. I just, precious. Just love it. Anyway, and then, was it Thursday? No, Friday. So I have been reading this for the last couple weeks, and I was reading 5 letters a day, and I finally finished it. So I actually, by the middle of the week, I started reading more and more because I was getting closer to the end, and I did finish this on Friday. So this again is Selected Letters by Jane Austen. This is a collection of some of her letters. So I would say, I think it's about half of them. Just over half, I think. I'm not quite sure, but it was enough to get a good feeling for a lot of the letters that I've seen quoted in biographies or other books on Jane Austen, so or other things like that. So it was really cool to read those and to read about her life. It starts, I think, in like the I can't remember when it starts. Oh, I'm not gonna. 1796, and then it goes to, you know, like a couple months before her death, and it was in 1817. So I mean, again, it first on the surface looks a lot like just domestic stuff, and you know, her talking about her friends and family, but really you see little nuggets of life and of what's going on in the world, and also what was going on in her life that, you know, that a lot of her books had themes of, or she knew people who did certain things, or you know, had things happen to them and stuff. I think it was really fascinating. So of course, what did I do? I went out and got the full collection of the letters. So maybe next year I'm hoping to use this book as a guide and go through and then just read the ones I didn't read in this collection in the other book. But anyway, so I finished it. I'm really excited that I did. So I'm not quite done with all of Jane Austen's writing. Again, the letters, I'm going to go through the new book that has all the other letters, and then as soon as I've read that, I've read everything I legitimately have access to of Jane Austen's. Then on Saturday, I picked up a library book because I have to get it done this week because it's due. And that is Don't Overthink It. Make Easier Decisions, Stop Second Guessing, and Bring More Joy to Your Life by Anne Bogle. She's the one who runs the podcast What Should I Read Next? Or was it? Yeah, What Should I Read Next? And she's the modern Miss Darcy on the blog. So I follow her blog, and I don't listen to podcasts, so I haven't listened to that, but I've looked at lists and things that she's put out, and I sometimes check to see what books she's talking about. So I do follow her on Instagram, I believe. So I just thought I'd do this because I am definitely an overthinker. I do have a tendency to think things over and over in a repetition. And so this was really fascinating in the way it made me feel less alone on the way how sometimes I would get in, I would just think about something, or I'd bring up something from a really long past event that has no connection to right now, but it would just like upset me over again. And it was really good to see I'm not the only one. So then that one was good. She does talk about some ways to change your thinking and stuff. I don't think this is like a strictly a self-help book. I think it was more helpful to me in thinking of just knowing that I wasn't the only one who did that, and just maybe coming to the realization that when I'm going into certain spirals of certain thinking, that I need to stop it and I need to change like what I'm doing or thinking, or make a move forward. I think she did a really good job on this book. I don't think it's, as I said, I don't think it's the best thing ever, but I think it's a really good read. I enjoyed it enough that I got something out of it, and I'm glad I read it. And again, but the best part about it was a lot of her own stories and her own family stories about stuff where, she would have those spiraling events. She had some really good examples, and I was able to understand all of them in a certain extent, most of them, so I thought it was pretty good. And again, I reserved it for my library during the whole epidemic, so it came in when they first opened up for library appointments to go and pick up books. So I had to get that done this week. So those are all the books I finished. I do want to talk about the book I DNF'd. And you're probably not surprised because I haven't talked about it yet. And that is the audiobook of the Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. So I got this from my library Libby app, and it's read by Richard Armitage, which is done really fantastically. He has a great audiobook narrator. If you ever have a book that's by him, listen to it. Anyway, but I had troubles with this book. This is a historical fiction about a group of people in the village around Chawton, or in Chawton. That is the place where Jane Austen spent several of her last years, and where she wrote several of her books. And they're out to save the house. And I think this did happen after World War II, and also I don't know a lot about that, about how things were restored and stuff. My problem is that let's just put it this way. There were some interesting people who lived in the town that I kind of wanted to follow to see how they went. And in some ways, this did remind me, which is really, it's connected but not the same, like the Jane Austen Book Club, I think is what it was called, by Karen Joy Fowler, but it's totally different, but it still made me think about it, because again, it's people reacting to Jane Austen, and maybe that was part of my problem. But the other problem is there was a famous like a celebrity part to this, and I'm not sure if that's true to the story. I don't know if it is, but I didn't enjoy it as soon as it kind of went there, because I didn't like their thoughts or what they were thinking about or how they dealt with things. I don't know. There was something about that, and it just threw me off. And I got 66 pages into this, and I was like, and I listened to it for several hours, and I'm just like, I can't do this. And so I returned it because I figured other people wanted to listen to it. I'm not going to do it. So anyway, I DNF this. I'm probably never going to pick this up again. It was not a book for me. I don't think the writing was bad. The narration was great. Like, that was not my problem either. It really was. It was just the way that there are elements I wasn't enjoying, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or went the way I wanted it to. So yesterday I picked up Hearthstone by L. Catherine White. I have had this on my 5-star predictions for all year, and I finally picked it up. Anyway, so this is it's a loosely Pride and Prejudice retelling with dragons. So I'm kind of excited about this because I haven't read a fantasy in a little bit, so I thought, oh, this will be good. So far, it is good. I'm only about 50 pages in, so it's a little 330 pages. So I'm not very far into it, but so far it's really good. I mean, everything's named differently, and people are, you know, are named a little differently. But you can see the basis for Pride and Prejudice in it, but it's different. Like it's loose. It's super loose. Like don't go into this thinking this is going to follow completely the plot line. And again, I was hoping, but it's not quite. So it'll be fine. I've already come to that realization, and I'm letting it go, and we'll see what happens. But again, I love the dragon already. Oh my God. I mean, there's other creatures too, but it was just like, so far I'm really enjoying this. So again, this is the first of a trilogy, I believe. The other 2 books are out. So I want to see if I like this again. It's on my 5-star prediction. It's part of Jane Austen July for me for reading a retelling. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm hoping today to get quite a bit into this more. But anyway, I'm really enjoying it so far. And then I picked up a nonfiction about Jane Austen, is What Matters in Jane Austen by John Mullen. 20 critical puzzles solved. Sorry. So this is talking about certain aspects of Jane Austen's books and novels and stuff, and how certain themes are prevalent and how they're different from one book to another. So like the first chapter was on, is age important in Jane Austen? And of course it is. The way that she writes them and tells us how old people are and why that somebody might say something because they're looking at that age thinking, oh, that person's really old, but really in real life they're only like 30. It was funny because it really is true. And all the examples, as I said, because I've read everything of Jane Austen's now except for a few of her letters. I'm getting a lot out of this, and I'm glad I waited until I've reread a couple of the books, like in some ways, because there's some books I still haven't reread that I really should. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is so far really good. I've only read the introduction and the first chapter, one of the 20. So I'm hoping to pick this up here and there between books, or maybe read, you know, a little bit of Hearthstone, and then I'll read a little bit of this, or I don't know. I'll feel like it matters if I feel like that day I'm in a nonfiction mood. Again, I have problems when I read 2 books at once, except I really want to read both of these books right now, so I started both of them. Not good on my part. And then let's talk about the books that I think I'll read next. So I do still have the other Bennett sister by Janice Hadlow. I do want to read this, but I'm putting it off because it's due at the end of the month from the library, so I still have some time. And I really want to read the other 2 books I just talked about. So this one I put, because I'm like, this one's more of this was an addition. I didn't mean to get this from the library because I didn't expect to get it until August. So it appeared, I got it. So this is of course a retelling of Pride and Prejudice again, but this is from Mary being the main character. And so again, I've only read 35 pages. Yeah. 36, 7 pages, and I really like it. It's an interesting thing. It's just hard because the hard hitting of looking at poor Mary and what she had to deal with growing up with her sisters and her mother and her father. I just, so you feel for her right away. I really do want to see where this goes, because I believe the first third or half is the retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and then it'll go on with Mary's story. And I really want to see where this book takes her, because I do feel that she got shorted in Pride and Prejudice, and I liked, she just didn't get much page time, and I really want to know what this author thinks she's going, and I really love the writing so far. So anyway, so that'll probably be what I pick up after those other 2 books. And then audiobook wise, I think I'm going to pick up Mansfield Park by Jane Austen. So I have not read Mansfield Park since college. This is my college copy. It's a Wordsworth, but it's, I mean, again, I'm actually surprised I didn't mark up any of my Jane Austen books, but they're all old. They're all from college and earlier. So, anyway, so I'm going to probably listen to this on audio. Actually, I don't remember who the audiobook, it was one of the Audible's versions I got. I got a different narrator. I could have gotten Juliet Stevenson again, but I got someone different because I wanted a different voice, and I liked the sample that I heard. So I'm hoping that was a good one. So I don't remember. I'll tell you when I start it. You know, when I talk about it next week, hopefully. I'm hoping to, as I said, so I have not read this in, okay, over 20 years. Point is that, so I don't remember a whole lot about Mansfield Park. It's one of the, what I would say, quieter novels in a lot of ways, because Fanny is not outgoing and persistent in a lot of things. I don't know how to, but anyway, I am looking, this was the one I really wanted to reread this year. I just got caught up with rereading Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion, my favorites. So I do want to read this because I want to see if this is actually my third favorite. I don't know, because I listened to Sense and Sensibility last year and I really enjoyed that. Having that option now that I can audiobook these books as well as read them is really cool. But anyway, so I got this audiobook with a credit, so I'm going to try that I'm hoping this week. And the reason is because I can't make myself pick up the Emma. I have an audiobook for that, and Emma and I again have a strange relationship because of the whole, I did a huge paper on her in college for my bachelor, and I just I just don't know if I'm going to revisit Emma, and I really should, but, oh, even 20 years later, it's just like, anyway, I don't know, so Emma might be the last week of the month. We'll see if I can get myself, here's how far I get into Mansfield Park this week, because this is a longer, again, much longer than the last two books, so because this is over, 472 pages, so it's like, twice, or quite a bit longer than the other two books. Yeah, so anyway, but that's it. Wow, I've talked a lot today, but I had a lot of books to talk about. So anyway, are you guys taking part in Jane Austen July? I'm really enjoying it, as I do every year. Again, there's still books on my shelf that I want to read that I'm just not going to get to, but I'm trying to now focus. These are the ones I think for sure. Emma is like a maybe, I don't know. So anyway, but I'm hoping to get all these done, and then the last week I have to read another library book. So I'm hoping to get a lot of reading done this week. I want to focus on that because I did really well last week with some of the shorter books, but these ones are all a little longer, so we'll try to get these done. So are you guys reading anything good? Anything you want to let me know about? Let me know, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.